Give me the microphone and give me the stage so I can talk about one of my favorite topics ever. Love. Love makes the world go round, baby. It makes the sun burn and the stars shine and the seasons change. And the One Piece world is no different, because in One Piece, love is a hurricane. But I don't mean romantic love, or just romantic love, I guess. We're not talking about kissing and hugging and sharing a strand of spaghetti together in a back alley. Well, I mean, we can, but not with me. I don't want to talk about that. Don't make me talk about that. No. I mean platonic love, familial love, love for adventure, and love for friends and islands and legends. It's all love. One Piece moves on love, on beating hearts and burning affection that makes everything look shiny and pink. After all, you can't spell Luffy without love. And speaking of shiny pink things, here comes my shiny pink self. Whoa, it's me. Hello. I am feeling particularly bright today because we're talking about something so beautiful and so human this time around. Love. And I love love. Tons of my favorite stories and favorite series focus specifically on the concept or themes of love, whether romantic or not. As many of you know, Devilman is one of my favorite series ever. And if you don't know, that series focuses on the depths and pains of love. Berserk is a favorite of mine too, and some of the best moments in that series are the moments of pure affection. I am not talking about those moments in Berserk, because I know what comes to a lot of people's heads when you mention Berserk, and I promise it's not that. God forbid we see the warmth in an otherwise cold series, right? But with all that said, I'm sure you can see why I'm so excited to talk about this, because everyone has a different reason for why they watch One Piece. It's one of the reasons One Piece is so amazing. I don't judge for any of it. I just think it's amazing that a series can attract such a wide group of people. I can honestly say I'd usually never willingly exist within a shonen space, and yet here I am, willingly existing. One Piece has just done that to me. My favorite scenes in One Piece, and the ones that make me want to scream and tear my soul out, are the ones that focus on love. They're the ones that focus on affection, on devotion, on passion and adoration. And Oda works that shit like nothing else, because his way of writing affection is really what separates his story in an amazing way, because it's just so human. It's so painfully human, and it's so genuine that it just kind of hurts, but in a good way. It's a burning good kind of hurt. This video will be breaking down One Piece's writing in terms of love. I've semi-talked about this before with my Law video, but Law's not the only character Oda has used to explore the depths of heart and soul. The goal of this essay will make you open your third eye, so hopefully you can see why you're so attached to One Piece, just like me, who is attached to One Piece. Very much so. If you haven't seen One Piece and you've just happened to stumble across this video, hello, welcome. I hope this convinces you to pick up and start One Piece maybe. The rest of you know the drill. It's going to be hardcore One Piece educational content from here on out. So sit back, do not relax, because we are going to be getting into the nitty-gritty depths and souls and love of One Piece. Alright, let's get into One Piece and love. Amour, if you will. I swear to God, this is not going to be a Sanji video in disguise. Please stay, I promise it's not. To begin with, I know this shit all sounds cheesy, but I promise it's worth the watch, especially when we look at Luffy. He's our protagonist. He's the end-all be-all of what One Piece is. And what exactly is Luffy just positively filled with? He's filled with joy, whimsy, and love. Luffy loves adventures, he loves his friends, and he loves his life. Thank God, honestly, because someone in this damn series needs to love their life, or it would be entirely too depressing. So, for our protagonist to be filled with so much love, it only makes sense that One Piece's world is pushed by it. And the thing with One Piece is so much is going on that you can miss so much. I admittedly lose track of a lot of battle stuff because I personally don't watch One Piece as a battle shonen. I hold no judgment to those who do. It technically is a battle shonen, I guess, but it's not just a battle shonen. One Piece isn't just fight based, and this is where a little perspective can do some good. Because I, honest to God, read One Piece like it was a love story. And again, not in a romantic way, but in a fantastical way. There aren't really many couples in One Piece, so I'm really trying to elaborate how that's not what this is about. A love story can be more than boy meets girl, or more than a shoujo high school anime where sparkles fly everywhere and every 10 seconds someone's heart goes doki doki. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the Skypiea arc specifically really solidified to me what One Piece is about. As much as it's about big battles, as much as it's about adventure, it really is about love to such a significant extent. And I will be getting into that later, because I'll touch more on Skypiea when actually talking about love within One Piece's arcs and themes. For now, I want to dive into a topic I find very interesting and very special about One Piece. The topic in question is how Oda writes affection in his series, because his affection, or his brand of it, is very peculiar. It stands out to me due to just how aggressive and intense it is, and while he's not the only one to write affection like this, I think it's funny how consistent he is with it, to the point he keeps repeating it in such an endearing way, and to the point his characters even grow due to such aggressive affection towards each other. First of all, for context, One Piece is about pirates. Did you know that? Pirates are, naturally, rapscallions. They are outlaws and misfits and criminals alike. There's not really such a thing as a nuclear family dynamic amongst pirates, hence why Oda probably chose the best story category ever to write with the affection he does. Even when a character like Odin had a family on Whitebeard's ship, their entire family was still Whitebeard and the hundreds of crewmates that made up this family. So basically what I'm saying is Hiyori is an honorary Whitebeard son to me. But that aside, what the hell am I talking about? I keep mentioning this aggressive affection, and what the hell could this aggressive affection possibly be? Well, apparently, it's just beating the shit out of each other. All the Straw Hats have at some point either made fun of each other or nearly killed each other. Even Robin has grabbed Frankie's balls, which was really awesome of her, by the way. I really wish they'd bring back the Frankie ball crushing. I just don't think we got enough of that. Their affection is more than that, of course. This is just the visual layer. And it's not just Straw Hats within the crew, but it's also some Straw Hats outside of the crew with their loved ones too. The Straw Hats, to an outsider, seem entirely dysfunctional. The captain keeps running them into trouble, the two wings keep tearing at each other's throats, and the navigator has very nearly killed these three 10 times over. How in the hell can these people love each other if this is how they treat each other? Probably because Oda is writing with the belief that no family is perfect, no relationship is smooth all over, and no single person is free of drama. We regulate our emotions in different ways, some more immaturely than others, so we show our affections in different ways too. Hence why you'll have Nami clobbering Zoro instead of just talking to him about what he did wrong. Sometimes the fist is stronger than words. Also, somehow, I don't think Zoro is the type to understand what he's done wrong sometimes, so I'm with Nami on this one. Luffy's similar, of course, put that beast in a cage for time out. Luffy's affection especially is so aggressive that he even fought fists out with Zoro during Whiskey Peak. While Zoro had no idea what was going on, he sure matched his energy quickly. Alright Captain, if you want to brawl, we're gonna brawl. This was mainly a gag, of course, but it's a good showing of how the Straw Hats love each other? Directly after the fight, Luffy is literally just laughing about what happened. And while Zoro's frustrated, he isn't upset. Their relationship is dysfunctional, but in an extremely odd way, it is healthy. And the same can be said for every other Straw Hat, one of my favorites being the relationship between Kureha and Chopper. Kureha is an extremely violent woman, an extremely passionate one too. Anyone would look at her and say she's not fit for taking care of anyone, probably. Yet, despite this, she's not only a doctor, but she has a little reindeer son to take care of. Even though she treats Chopper with what feels to be a lot of hostility, she's still done a lot for him. She's given him a home, an education, and a family, albeit a small one. But family is family, even if it's between a hot gilf and a humanoid reindeer. Honestly, when I first read Drum Island and saw their relationship, it almost seemed as if Kureha begrudgingly took Chopper in. Yet, as we continue on with the story, as we learn more about Chopper and Kureha, we realize just how much she loves this little reindeer. Kureha is not only extremely protective of Chopper, but understands the pain and scars of his heart. She voices out her concerns of Chopper towards Nami, yet never seems to say these things to Chopper directly. It's a sign of love to understand someone to such an extent, and even more so to worry for them so deeply. My favorite scene, though, comes in the form of their goodbye. As Chopper says he's going to become a pirate and he's going to be a man like Dr. Hidelock and all that, Kureha laughs at him? Well, not exactly laughs, but she belittles him. She yells that he'd be terrible as a pirate, that she taught him all he knows, and then chases him with axes throughout the castle. This confused the hell out of me the first time I read this, as I'm sure this probably confused many others. How the hell can these two possibly love each other with such a relationship? What type of affection has someone throwing axes at someone else's head? And yet, as Chopper makes it out of the castle, we get sucker punched by this beautiful line from Kureha. I don't like tearful farewells. Kureha loved this little reindeer so much that she couldn't stand to see him go, to the point she chased him out so violently that she'd cry otherwise. And to cement how much she really did care about him, she set off Hidelock's cherry blossom snow as a goodbye to Chopper, combined with the fact she preemptively packed Chopper's travel bag before chasing him out. This is a weird relationship, and Kureha is a weird person, but her farewell just guts you, because even if she doesn't show her affection in a traditional sense, and it can feel upsetting by how violent it is, there's no denying her heart is filled with nothing but love for Chopper. She just can't express it to him outright, and Chopper's even somewhat embodied this with how he reacts to affection too. Every time Chopper gets a compliment, he tries to act tough and pretend he doesn't care, but he can't help doing a little dance of joy. Somehow it feels like he's trying to replicate Kureha's cool nature, but unlike Kureha, Chopper can't help wearing his heart on his sleeve. Again, Kureha's love for Chopper is that one-piece brand of dysfunctional but healthy. These characters caring for each other with such a passion, they just can't help but get violent about it. It's like a cuteness aggression, I suppose. And you know who else is similar in their relationship in terms of aggressive affection? Sanji and Zeff. This is not a Sanji video, I already said that. I just can't not bring him up because Sanji is like the embodiment of aggressive affection. Sanji and Zeff are so weird because on the outside they just make no goddamn sense. Zeff keeps pushing Sanji out and then Sanji keeps screaming that he's gonna stay, and then they get into fights and tussles all the time. The most embarrassing one being right in front of the Straw Hats, because imagine getting into a domestic with your dad in front of fellow teenagers that you've literally just met. I would honestly be up all night cringing to myself about that. Either way, upon first reading, they were weird. I genuinely thought they hated each other. I mean, the first time we ever see them interact, Zeff kicks Sanji in the face. Very awesome and very cool. But as we get to know more about them, we see that this is just their way of loving? Sanji refuses to leave the Baratier because he wants to help keep Zeff's dreams alive. Zeff wants Sanji to leave the Baratier because he wants him to pursue his own dreams. So they're in this constant loop of jumping in front of the bullet for each other. The most interesting example of Zeff's violent affection is when he punches Sanji with his hands. Again, out of context, this just seems cruel. But we understand how important Zeff's hands are to him. A cook's hands should only be used for cooking, because their hands make food for the people they love. And yet, Zeff punches Sanji. In an insane way, this is Zeff telling Sanji just how much he loves him. He's telling Sanji that you are more important than these damn hands, so get a grip because I want to see you live your life outside of this restaurant. Sanji only gets the memo once he storms out and has a genuine fit, like a teenager rebelling against their parents. That scene is so stupidly funny to me. I don't know why he was flipping through the sky like that. Don't tell me what to do, I'm an adult. But this whole relationship between Zeff and Sanji, right down to Zeff telling Sanji to keep himself safe, is Oda's iconic aggressive affection that he really loves writing. He really likes hitting you in the face over and over again with this type of immature violence between two people. The push and pull confusing at first, before hitting you like a truck with a beautiful conclusion to it that tells us, undoubtedly, these characters love each other. For Kureha, it was her tearful farewell to Chopper, and for Zeff, it was his own tearful farewell to Sanji. Both of those melted my heart in such a disgusting way, as I'm sure it did yours as well. In the real world, this is not healthy, but that's why it can work in fiction and can work with pirates, especially when the dynamic is not a nuclear one, considering we do see what actual hatred and violence does look like against someone like Sanji. While Zeff's punches and kicks are aggressive, we still know it's not malicious and not purposefully cruel. Compare that to the Vinsmokes. Compare it to the way Sanji's brothers treated him. Oda has honestly perfectly set up what hostility really looks like to him, what he thinks it is and what he shows it as, because I'm sure we can all agree that this is leagues different in tone to this. I think I should preface that I'm not saying to hit your kids. Do not do that. This is not what this is about. Again, it's fiction, and this is a relationship between a pirate who never wanted a kid doing his very best to raise this insane little brat. The same can be said for Kureha. These are just characters who were not made to be parents but are trying their damn best anyways. I call this Oda's iconic aggressive affection because he clearly really likes the push and pull of two people who care about each other but are too immature to admit it. Examples of this, aside from Zeff and Sanji and Kureha and Chopper, would be Kureha and Hideluk, Zoro and Sanji, Buggy and Shanks, Whitebeard and Roger from what we've seen of them. Even Nami and Vivi acted this way towards each other. Nami refused to admit her care for Vivi to her face, and even to others, but still screamed she was becoming stronger for Vivi. Nami and Usopp is a big one too. During Wano, they were both equally assholes to each other. And even though Nami is the reason Usopp got his head bashed in, she still asked if he was okay. Of course, Usopp was the reason Nami got her head bashed in beforehand, but that's an I'll get you back for that, dickhead mentality. It's the frenemy complex that Oda seems addicted to. I don't blame him. It's a very fun dynamic to write, and he clearly enjoys writing it. You can even throw Luffy, Law, and Kid in there with how much much those three bickered in a circle. Yet, despite it all, Luffy still saw those two as his friends, even if they were screaming and clawing about it. I said it in my Zoro and Sanji video, but Oda has a very Italian way of writing relationships. That's the weirdest thing to say, I know, but running around whacking the people you love with a wooden spoon isn't far off from what Sanji is doing, combined with the fact he feeds them directly after. This tongue-in-cheek playfulness he enjoys also feels very strangely Australian to me, but that might just be because I'm Australian. But that aside, what do I actually mean by One Piece being powered by love? What does Skypiea have to do with it? Why is Skypiea my basis for this? With the explanations of aggressive affection aside, let's get into that, because that's the real meat of this video. If you didn't know, I love Skypiea. Every time someone says they don't like Skypiea, I want to tear off my skin and I want to run into the woods. I want to tear at bugs and dirt and soil and trees because it makes me so angry. I've already made a video on Skypiea. If you didn't know, please go and check that one out because that one covers the arc itself. This time we're going to cover Skypiea in relation to love. Obviously. Because, as I said at the beginning of this video, Skypiea made me realize just how reliant on the theme of love One Piece actually is. Oda even opens this arc with talks of dreams and romance, Cricket yelling to the Straw Hats and to the heavens how miraculous an adventure to the clouds can be, and how the unknown makes it exciting. You know, all the good stuff that makes One Piece what it is. But when we get to Skypiea, we're met with nothing but dictators and warfare. The previous god of the island had been overruled, while Enel runs with his power-hungry ideals. The Shandia tribe is in a constant struggle to gain their sacred land back, and there's a sense of dread and fear in every corner of Skypiea. My first thought of this arc was, so this is just a battle adventure to beat the big bad and to save the people. Luffy and co not only go through battle trials, but Enel has essentially turned this situation into his own personal Hunger Games as he counts down who's left to fight. But then everything changes. Everything when we receive the backstory of the Shandia tribe, when all the dots line up and we're finally given the connection between Noland and Skypiea, because we discover in a heartbreaking turn of events that Noland and Kalgada, the legendary warrior of the Shandias, had a friendship and relationship unlike anything else. We didn't know what the Golden Bell was for. We didn't know why it was so crucial to Wiper and his tribe outside of being a sacred item. But then we get punched in the gut with the actual story behind it all. And the story behind it, the reason it's such a sacred item is because of love. This Golden Bell flips every single thing upside down within Skypiea, and as always, I beg for people to reread One Piece arcs, because it breaks your heart all over again. The monstrous snake we see at the beginning, the one that ate Luffy, becomes tragic in its existence. This snake was part of the Shandia tribe, but more than that, it had a personal connection with Kalgada and Noland. Nola, the snake, is the only living being who remembers just how powerful the relationship between Noland and Kalgada was. We get only a few short panels of its past as she panics when Kalgada disappears from her life, and we realize this isn't the monster we were told of. Just like Wiper, this is a being that wants to hear that bell ring, because it reminds Nola of Kalgada, of Noland, and of the loving times it shared with the Shandians of the time. And this is a snake. This is a snake, and yet Oda managed to squeeze so much sentimental value into this creature. I'm crying over a goddamn snake. And the meaning of the bell, the meaning of the sound is love. For God's sake, the chapter of the ringing bell is literally titled Love Song. We get Calgada's monologue as he reaches out to Noland, saying, "Wait just a little longer. I'm going to tell you that we're okay." Calgada fought for his land, yes. He fought for his people and his own life. But he also fought so Noland could see him again, so he could ring that bell and let him know he forgives him and cares about him, that they're okay and he will always welcome him back with open arms. That bell will echo across the sea and time to connect them, even through death, because of love. Once again, I'm not calling this a romantic love. The interpretation is up to you, but that's why I stand by. The ringing of that bell is truly what makes Skypiea so incredible in its story. It gives me goosebumps and it always has me on the edge of tears, and the golden bell is why I realized One Piece is pushed by love. For what and for who always changes, but it's pushed by love nonetheless. Zoro exists as a swordsman due to his love and his promise to Kuina. Wado a symbol of their relationship. Nami exists as a thief because of how much she loved her island and her mother. Usopp exists as a symbol of love between his parents, wanting to be a brave pirate due to loving his father so much. Sanji exists as a cook because of his love for his mother, for Zeff, for the Baratier, and for the All Blue. Chopper exists as a doctor due to loving and being loved by Hideluk. Robin exists as an archaeologist due to loving her mother and Ohara. Frankie exists as a shipwright due to Tom pushing him to love his creations. Brook exists because of his love for Laboon and literally stayed alive for that purpose. Jinbei exists as a pirate due to loving his island, loving his people, and wanting all fishmen to see the sun as he has. And Luffy exists only because of the love he's found around him. Luffy exists with his dreams, with himself, with his smile, because he loves his crew. He loves his friends and he loves his family. His dream can only exist thanks to Shanks' affection for him. And putting this all into perspective tears your heart out. Even the Merry, who was a ship, met her beginning and her end through pure love. The Merry truly shows how much One Piece relies on love, because she shows how the Straw Hats love each other so strongly and unconditionally. She was so loved she formed a Klabauterman to fix herself so the crew wouldn't worry about her. And this happened during, you guessed it, Skypiea. Merry was a ship, an inanimate object that grew a soul due to how much she was loved. Death in One Piece is so delicate and impactful that Oda's making sure we understand even objects and possessions hold importance. And we're shown that love can form from and attach to anything. Love in One Piece is so powerful that it literally creates new life, just so that life can give back the love it received. And it's not just the Straw Hats. Majority of the characters we meet have a purpose, a dream through love. Vivi loved her country and people so ardently she sacrificed herself for it. Wiper loved his land, his people, and his ancestors. Moria loved his family and crew so much he fell into an insane zombie depression because of it. Ace dies saying thank you for loving me. All of Marineford centered around his search for love that he'd finally found. Shirahoshi loved her mother so much she braved the outside world to see her. Law loved Corazon to the point he was ready to die for him. He only existed because of Corazon's love. Zoro and the Minks loved Odin and his samurai so faithfully they went through torture to keep them safe. All of Whole Cake Island only happened because of how much Sanji loved the Straw Hats and how much Luffy loved Sanji. Wano was about Odin's love for his land, his regret in abandoning it, and doing everything he could to keep Wano safe. And Kuma. Oh my god. Kuma. I'm not touching Kuma, but if you know, you sure as hell know. Then there's Roger, the beginning of it all, the guy who started the pirate age. He existed as a pirate because he loved life, he loved the world and everything in it, and he loved his freedom. Roger's piracy wasn't as shallow as wealth, fame, and power. It never was, and it was never meant to be. Roger existed as a love letter to freedom, to one's own life, to the world at large, which is what he then pushed onto the world to start a great age of fantastical romance. One Piece is about love. It's about loving something or someone. It's about loving your family, loving your land, loving your friends, loving your world and history. It's about how this love forms you, changes you, pushes you forward and creates your dreams. Because love as a concept isn't shallow. One Piece isn't shallow. And even now, we can see Joy Boy bursting to life with his old friends forming around him. These old friends coming back to life due to their love for Joy Boy. And isn't that just so beautiful? Doesn't that just dig into your soul and remind you of how amazing it is to be human? Because it sure does that to me. And it's why One Piece is one of my greatest loves of all time. And with that, thanks for watching. Hi, it's me. Sorry, I was just crying over the script because this series makes me so stupidly emotional. What do you think? Do you think One Piece is a world full of love? Do you agree or disagree? Do you have a favorite moment in One Piece that encompasses love? Let me know because I always love hearing it. Just a quick reminder that I do have a Patreon, and if you would like to support me there, I'd really appreciate it. But I know not everyone can support me in that way, and just watching and sharing these videos does so much more than you can imagine for me. But tips are also nice, I will not lie. My Patreon also includes how to get into my Discord if you'd like to join my little community. If there's anything you'd like to see me cover, One Piece or otherwise, please let me know. And I'll see you in whatever I make next. See ya!